This day 292 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you like to sponsor our coming shir, the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, or more, please contact me directly. It'd be very greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Siman Reish Gimel Sif Vav through Siman Reish Daled Sif Vav. Vav to Vav. Okay, so yesterday we talked about bracha on fruit trees, brachas on the fruit of trees, and now we're at the Vav HaPerish Matzin on fruit which comes from non-fruit bearing trees. Arukh HaShulchan, because they're not really fruit. Whatever fruit you find on a non-fruit bearing tree, by definition, is very bad. But if there are good, theoretically good to eat, therefore, small nuts which are collected from the forest trees and are good to eat, presumably it's about pine nuts. This is some sort of product of a tree, which you can cook, and it could be like fruit to animal barkel shahako. Fill the bracha remains shahako. It's not considered all. And it's like the fruit of a barren tree. We have no idea what this is. For example, brackets ayin shari chuvas. If kambesh kav shem mariza baracha eitz ayin shom ani omedagam kavanoso shem achila b'toiv k'div yavrutaz on yavram. Whatever that reason I was talking about, it's only when it's really suitable to eat in a proper and good way. Belocha says that the fruit of Elon Srak is that which grows on its own without planting or cultivating, and you can't eat them raw, only by cooking and frying. Therefore, they're bracha shahako. But those which grow by cooking, by planting, and cultivating, even they're not so good to eat when they're raw. Nevertheless, after they're cooked, you make ala eights. If from a tree, make a bar priya eights, and if they are from the ground, you make a bar priya adama. Zain al zanglish going ingber, the ginger we have had in Sif Dalit. Sorry, all right. Where was it? No, it's in the previous simon. And Simon British Base, okay. So Zamish going ingber mishmachin so shuatu when they make a confection of it when it's moist, but bari priadaya make a bari prihadama. The Allah brings down opinions. This is true if they only make confection out of very small pieces, or out of at least small pieces. But if it's good, no, I'm sorry. The question is whether this is only if there's pieces, or even if it's crushed and pulverized, or then you make a shahako. One Purim in Chicago, my wife needed crystallized ginger, make some recipe, and those days before the internet and that special order, in the middle of the night somewhere, I finally picked up crystallized ginger, which I'd gotten in that day to make the shalach manas. One of the sweet memories. Anyway, so the crystallized ginger actually is pieces of ginger, which are crystallized. It's not cut up. They're actually ginger. So that would be hadama. I'm sorry. Even though most ginger is so dry, they're also made to eat as confections when they're moist. To be made into confections when they're moist. But the same would be true if they can make confection out of when it's dry. Since that by that he is suitable to eat, as the ginger is the primary and not the honey. The kavana hulashem azanvil, the intent is for the ginger. Make a barapiyadama. So if you fry ginger, and eat it for health reasons, came in the royal achila, they can't consider suitable to eat in that way. With tzitver, simmering, cinnamon, I don't know why he's saying this, because previously he said by tzvitzer, by simmering, that you make hadama even when it's dry, because it has a taste. So I don't know, here he's saying it's possible to make shahako because avirak time it's only made for taste and not to eat. Seems to be a direct contradiction to what he wrote in the previous simon. I don't know what to do with that contradiction. Pipling shamrachin wasam varchim bari priadama. Peppers, when you confect them, they make a bari priadama. I'll feed it the same as manazeb shita shein asim rak l'taima. But as far as we know, in our day and age, they don't make confection out of peppers, and they're only made for taste. Never that they use black peppers and such like to make confections. Tamam toiv came in a place where they grow, they have a good taste, and they do make the confections. We don't know about this. With some shkukin ground for spices, muran mitzukar, which are mixed with sugar, have some ikar, the spices are primary. Some make the bracha according to the spices. You may priya eitza, priya dama, shako, whether they're eitza, dama, or shehakol. Mishnah Berurah says that in the case of this case of ground spices, even if they are very ground up and very much pulverized, I'd said the point that you can't even recognize their initial countenance, nevertheless the bracha doesn't change, and because that is the derech which one makes and eats besamim. Mishnah also writes that even when the sugar is a majority and then the spices are a minority, nevertheless the ginger is primary and the sugar is tafel. It only comes to sweeten it, and you should not make a bracha on the sugar. Again, chocolate is the great problem, as we mentioned yesterday. Ches tzinon mevarech Allah bar priadama. Radishes, you make bar priadama. Avkav sov lakshos ain't chila. Even though she's going to come tough and not suitable to eat. Become nevertheless ikar zuyason hu lechol kodem nizkashu. The primary point about them is eaten before they become hard. Retach, which I assume is radish, but also on onions and garlic. Because many can eat raw in our day and age. Whatever even is, it's adama. Where they're primarily eaten by cooking, because that's mazan, they're primarily planted for this. If you eat them when they are raw, then shako, we make a shako. These are types of turnips, so root vegetables in general. Bruska is evidently an actual turnip, and Rebin, I guess, is something similar. And it goes on to speak now about other root vegetables. Evidently, the gam marin by carrots. Hadin Kane, but they are that they're I didn't eat raw carrots back then. They ate raw carrot back then. You make a shako. Nowadays we make a adama. Reben root by turnips. Turnips are eaten raw, so therefore we make adama. The tamka shwin chain, horseradish. Ain't roy lachil. It's not suitable to eat at all. I'm going to say bus of a dogin. Eat it with meat and fish. Then the horseradish is tough outside the meat and fish, which begs the question, of course, how can make adama on chrein on Pesach? Okay, yeah, obviously there are reasons why you can do it. Even we don't use romaine or endives, which endives is our family tradition, but evidently since on Pesach it's a mitzvah, doing mitzvah, so therefore adama it becomes enough of a meichel to make adama on it. But he says here, normally, I guess the rest of the year, be Michael Tamcha Batzma banana, he said if you eat horseradish by itself and you enjoy it, Aval salata on lettuce, Mvarech Adama, because it's good to eat. Shabbatagnin, retach b'dvash, when you fry radishes with honey, v'nikra engemacht, Mvarech Adama, make Adama. Av k'shemari b'em agozim, and if you mix the nuts, retach, ikar, the radishes are primary. It goes in him harov. If the majority is nuts, though, the work to make a better praise. And so all this, etc. Similar. When you fry two species, priya eitz and priya dama, one is a fruit and one is a vegetable. Go after the majority. When you fry sesame and honey, monalach, then you make adama, which is bracha on the sesame. Raised out. Dini brechas shahako. Aleph. Alvarim sheyilim things which don't grow from the ground. Gambasar behemoth chayav, such as meat of various types, dog and fish, beitzim, eggs, cholov, milk, vino, cheese. Baruch shakol yebid varo. You make those bracha that everything came out by his statement. She bracha kois a kol v'nishalom, which is a general bracha on everything in the world. How you say all animals do eat from the ground. The same ground they don't grow from the ground, they eat from the ground. Why did they change the language by Birchas Shako? Why did they say he creates everything like he said? Like they say he creates types of mizonas, Bori creates, Bori Adama. Creates everything with a statement. The language of Bria can only devolves in something which is a new creation every year. Interesting. Bria means a newness, even though it's not Yesh Ma'ayin, ex nihilo, but it's still new. More gracious Barlokim. Avocado Bashut medius, but everything which is constant, such as animals and water, etc. Can't say they are created. But rather they exist. He made a statement and they exist. They exist by his word. And not niyah, which would be a past tense. The whole brachas on the top saying Lashon Benoni. By all brachas we go after middle tense, which is the present. Hakol Avar Vasi, which can include both past and future. Shashgocha, so Yisbarach Yitmiz, because Hashem Neshgocha, divine providence is constant. B'li say Grega with no interruption even for a moment. I missed in the previous simon, last Mishnah Bura, and Mishnah says that our radish is bitter, and therefore people don't eat without bread, and therefore you only make a shahako. But the Baal Tanya says that he proves in several places that you do make adam on radishes. Okay, back to our sugya here. Base. If you have bread which got moldy and a little bit ruined, it's no longer as good to bread as to eat as it was previously. And so too a cooked dish which has turned and it's not as good as it was previously. Also wine which has become somewhat vinegary. Point that it smells like wine, but time it tastes like vinegar. All these things that make shahako. You can't make the previous bracha in language of borei. They no longer are as they were created. It's a good chap. Obviously, as we can eat it now, at least if you push yourself. Not suitable to eat at all. There's no way you can make a bracha them. So you eat sticks and stones, you can't make a bracha. Mishabura says that that which you make on moldy bread is shahako, only if you eat in a place where it's moldy. Because if you find the bread in a place where it's not yet moldy, you can make a motzi and bench on that part. Be'alacha brings down the Rambam that always things with the bracha shahako. The bracha achorah is burning the fashos, but he's not sure what's the bracha achorah on bread which went moldy. Is it burning the fashos or brichas hamazon? Pashas is it's brichas and burning the fashos. Gimel v'chein perish is kalkul mitchilas priyasa, fruit which was ruined from the beginning of its creation. Bashas karilam lashon novlos. That's language of fruit which will never ripen, etc. They fell from the tree before they got ripe. Or or dates which became ripe but then were burned by the heat, the scabs dried out. Because in shako, since they're not the primary pre the bracha shako. The nearly the filamion, Arukh HaShulchan says, seems to him that falling from the tree ain't ella shekain dagash bells elu shemis bashmil olam. That's only this falling from the tree is talking about fruit which will never get will never ripen, and they normally fall before they get ripe because they don't get ripe. But those which do get ripe on the tree, but they fell before they got ripe. Because in bird braids, you can make a bird braids. The alcohol payers levana novim, because on all fruit besides grapes. Mevarchin aleim ha'etz gam be'odem boser. Higabara braids also when they're still unripe. Which because of simon raise your pace. See if it's zayichem mashmei ataz. See if gimel. So are you saying they're very big kiddush that if it's a fruit which would normally get ripe, if it stayed on the tree, then you would make still ha'etz on it. Dav chen guvay ben chagam term on kosher locust, van melach and salt, water, and barkim shahako. Chen on barak shabasa on meat soup or chicken soup, barkim shahako. Vav and change on rak bilvat. So assuming it's only soup. The yesh ways the dover michael, because if it has some food in it, because it's food, its broth becomes like the broth of food. Being together. Because the food is primary, and the soup is subordinate. Unless the food is very, very little. There's very little food. So I had to give taste to the soup, zupa, like our soups. Does ikar and barak and then the primary is the soup, and you make a shako. Appears to do is bar b'siman reish ches. We'll come back to this in very great detail later on. Hey, about kamein pichios and truffles and mushrooms, occurring shvemlach. Shochan or something they ask to make a bracha when they eat them on their own. Achashis bashlu after they ripen. Even though they also derive nourishment from the ground, nevertheless they are fungi which grow from the air, from spores. You can't make a berpiyadam on them. Kamein are truffles which are created under the ground. They come from the fat of the land. Not sure what that means. But pictures they mean acher, but mushrooms are different species. They if anybody see that sometimes grow off on trees. Famous psak that you made adama on mushrooms or truffles. You say since they do derive nourishment from the ground. And suddenly if you put them into another food, you become subordinate to that food. They don't get their own bracha. Vav Amru Chazal al Korah. What is Korah? The head of the palm tree of dates, shurach, when it's soft. That Varashi Pires, Rashi explains Rachel Dekel Tamorim, the soft part of a date palm. When its fleas begin growing every year. That which is added on this year is soft. The next second year becomes hard like wood. It's suitable to rock when it's soft because of shahako. Because people don't plant the date palms for that fiber or that young shoot. Why do we make adama like in capers on kafrisin and the subordinate secondary kafrisin? Which I'm assuming range, but it's not comparable. The Bitzlav, by capers, they know they're going to eat the kafrisin. Is not the primary part of the fruit. Therefore, it only goes one level from a Itzadama. The person who plants the date palm does not want people to eat the korah. They'll take the Ishis Kashebi. I say he wants it to solidify and become a stronger and better tree. Therefore, it's not include fruit at all. Ubir chaso, shehako, and its bracha is shehako.